What's up, everyone? Welcome into HuPAC Talk. Today, I'm joined by DC to recap Week 1 and look ahead to Week 2 of the NFL season. And what better way to start than last Friday night in Brazil? Thursday night game happened. Doesn't really matter. We all knew the Eagles were going to win. After that brutal lightning delay, we finally got the game played. The Eagles did win. Not much to talk about there. No one expected the Cowboys to do anything. That brings us then to Friday night, down under the equator, where Patrick Mahomes failed, finally, to show up in the big moments and put away his division rival. The Chargers score a massive win, not just for their playoff seeding this year, but potentially for the future. Do you think this may represent the changing of the guard in the AFC West?
I don't know if I'd go that far. Mahomes is still a really good quarterback. He was doing his thing. The problem is he has no weapons. He's got Travis Kelce taking out Xavier Worthy on like the third play from scrimmage. I don't know which one it was. It was very early on. Xavier Worthy, a good weapon, at least to like hold off or to get the offense going in some way while Rashee Rice is serving out a suspension. So you lose Xavier Worthy, and then you're stuck with Old Man Travis, Hollywood Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster. We're just like throwing names out there and hoping they can get a win. And even down to the end, I was like, is this the Chiefs from last year where they're going to somehow, some way, like sneak out this win?
For sure.
But Jim Harbaugh let Herbert sling it. Quentin Johnston can finally catch a football. And the Chargers like defeated all the stereotypes. Like they were throwing up the stats, like the Chargers in one possession games for the last 5 years, and the Chiefs in one possession games, and it just went against everything. So I don't know if it goes against the Chiefs' dominance in the AFC West for years, but it definitely they should be concerned this year because I don't know what their schedule looks like after this week, but they are in trouble if they can't get something going.
Yeah, I've heard it said by dubious sources that because the game was in Brazil, it doesn't count. It's not a real game. It's sort of like a preseason, regular season NFL game for whatever that means. But the point remains that Justin Herbert looked like a whole nother quarterback this game. For years, he's had this reputation of being an outstanding quarterback, a reputation that I often thought was unwarranted just because he failed to deliver in the playoffs. His teams, they won regular season games, they got to the playoffs, but they didn't win that many regular season games. They would top out as a wild card. But this game, 25 for 34, 318 yards, 3 tutties, including 2 to the aforementioned Quentin Johnston, who shows up out of nowhere. This is third year out of TCU, didn't do anything his first 2 years, and made the few fantasy managers who drafted him weep.
Yeah. Not to mention you have McConkey there.
Oh, yeah.
And he was good last year.
Right.
And so they just look like they're full of weapons.
And if Keenan Allen?
Keenan Allen, back from the dead, back in LA. And you have Herbert slinging the ball like this every game. And then that opens up the run game for rookie Omarion Hampton. Like, I'm scared to play the Chargers if I'm in the AFC.
Yeah, and on the other side of the field, after dropping the Super Bowl in the brutal fashion that they did, I think you were looking for the Chiefs to come out in this game and just show out and deliver and throw haymakers right and left. But they didn't do that. They looked weak. They looked ineffectual. They failed to deliver in those big moments like they seemed to do without it fail last year. And as a result now, I almost think, and this is obviously a bit of an overreaction given the Chiefs' success over the last however many years, I think the Chargers are the team to beat in the AFC West this year because they have a reputation for being a run-first offense. But in this game, Justin Herbert's slinging the ball 35 times. Like, they seem, actually, really through the halfway point of last year, or since the halfway point of last year, they've been one of the most pass-heavy offenses in the NFL. So I think that reputation with Jim Harbaugh and their team being a grounded pound sort of offense, I think that he's shifted now. And their team, they're willing to sling it. They've got viable weapons at receiver. And they're going to go out there, and even with the tight end and Will Dissly, their whole offense seems capable this year.
Yep.
So I think the future is bright for the LA Chargers. Maybe this is one of the last years where they are not the least relevant team in LA.
Yep.
All right. Fast forwarding through many games, I'd like to pause here and just ask you, on a scale of 1 to 10, as an objective outsider football fan, say you don't have any rooting interest in any particular team, but you just enjoy watching all the games as a whole, what will you rate Week 1 on a scale of 1 to 10 for the quality of the games?
If we're basing it on the games I watched, it was like a 9.5, but I barely watched any of the early window or even the late window. I caught the very end of the 4:25 window Eastern time, and then I watched the absolute amazing game that was Sunday night. And then I caught the Chiefs Chargers game, which was pretty good. I caught the Eagles Cowboys game, which turned competitive. And then the Monday night game, which was like
Just bizarre.
just bizarre. So like the games that I watched, it was fantastic.
I have to give it a 9. There of the 16 NFL games this past weekend, only 4 were more than one score games. It was just close game after close game. Bad teams were hanging in there versus good teams, and with the exception of the Giants and the Panthers and the Lions, who we'll be getting to, and also I forget the fourth team, but it was just close games up and down the docket, even with teams that we didn't really think were going to hang in there. Obviously, the Saints hung in there against the Cardinals. Now we can argue about whether the Cardinals are actually that decent, but I think that's pretty impressive for a team headlined by a quarterback as awful as Spencer Rattler.
Yeah. And again, it's really hard. Like, if someone comes back to this show in like 3 months, it'll probably be full of absolutely horrible opinions because week 1 is the easiest to overreact to and underreact to.
Of course.
And 2 teams can play each other and can be really competitive. Like the Steelers and the Jets. I don't rate either of those teams highly, but they put on a very entertaining game. So people can be like, wow, they're both really good. Or it turns out they're both just really equal.
Right.
So,
or they just both have really, really bad defenses.
Yeah.
Like,
so who knows? But we give the best opinions we can at this time.
for sure. All right. Moving forward to the 425 window on CBS, we have Jim Nantz, Tony Romo calling the game. Obviously, it's my Packers and your Packers playing a longtime division rival, a team that in recent years has owned the Packers, winning, I think, the last 3 games at Lambeau, 3 of the last 4 matches overall. The Detroit Lions, a team that has really dominated the NFC for the last couple of years. And I tell you what, the Packers came out, they stepped on the Lions' throats, and it never looked like a competitive game.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, they drove down the field first drive, score a touchdown. I'm like, well, our offense is pretty good against Aiden Hutchinson and the Lions. Everyone, like, the Lions defense is supposed to be revamped, but it's early. It's first drive of the season. Who knows? But then I kind of got into last year's feeling because when the Packers would do that, the Lions would come back and score a touchdown of their own. But then that just didn't happen. Like, I checked the score at halftime because I was busy, and I'm like, oh, we're actually up. Like, and they've scored, what was it, 3 points in the first half? And then
Evan Williams had that clutch interception late in the first half when the Lions were driving.
Great, incredible defensive performance. And I think the biggest question I have about the Packers team, because people all over the media are rating them incredibly highly, which they should be. But the question is, are the Lions as good as we thought they were? Because if they're not, then the Packers' performance means less.
Right.
However, I still think the Lions are a really good team. But Micah Parsons, 29 snaps out of 65, went in and just wrecked that Lions offensive line. Now, I know there's some rookies on there, but the Packers, in my opinion, and who knows, because we're going to go watch Thursday Night Football against the Commanders after this, but they looked legit.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. That game, I tell you what, I've never seen that much juice on a defense. They're just running around, making plays right and left. Devontae Wyatt, their whole front on defensive front just looked incredible. And I don't know, I'm assuming that's partly due to Parsons, but as good as Parsons was, I'd like to point to some of the other guys on the D-line, like Lucas Van Ness and Devontae Wyatt, who are showing out and making plays. They both had sacks. Just an incredible defensive effort. They're consistently getting pressure on Goff and rendering the questions about their quarterbacks, or lack thereof in the cornerback depth, somewhat irrelevant.
Mm-hmm. And they shut down the run game.
Oh, for sure.
You got the best two-headed monster in the NFL. And
Jameer Gibbs.
I forget the stats, but it was insane.
10 catches for 30 yards.
Yeah.
It's forcing Goff to dump it down to his running backs, and they're not doing anything on the ground because the defense is flying around and making plays. Like I said, Evan Williams had the clutch interception, and the defense was incredible. I'd also like to point, though, to Jordan Love and the offense. He led them efficiently. He led them quickly down the field in the first half. There's been a problem with Jordan Love for a lot of the last couple of years where he will start out really slow. and then he'll pick it up in the second half, and they might win and they might lose. But he'll start out slow. We didn't see that today. They basically raced ahead in the first half, and by the second half, he was able to pull back and just hand off to Josh Jacobs.
Yep.
So
and he spread it around. You never know where the next punch is coming from. There's so many just different weapons that he can utilize. So I was really happy with how they looked.
for sure, no player had more than 6 targets on that offense. Just
that's crazy.
spreading the wealth. Incredible. All right. Moving forward to the best game of the weekend, possibly the best game of the season. We have to wait and see. Certainly one of the more bizarre games of the season, though. The Baltimore Ravens traveled to Buffalo, New York, and with 4 minutes left in the game, held a 40-25 advantage. I went to bed at this point. When I got up in the morning, I checked Yahoo Sports to ascertain the fantasy damage that Lamar Jackson and Zay Flowers had done to my team, and found, to my great delight, that they had done very little, but to my greater surprise, that Josh Allen had somehow engineered this epic comeback across those final 4 minutes, securing a 41-40 victory, 81 combined points, just bonkers. I heard Chris Collinsworth on the broadcast say that the game reminded him more of some game played in Madden than anything you would see in real life.
It was nuts. I stayed up for it. I won't say it's because, I'm just here for all the wealth of football. And like I said, I didn't watch much football on Sunday, so I was going to watch all that Sunday Night Football had to give me. So yeah, the Ravens are up 15. You're like, oh wow, this has been an entertaining game, but the Ravens were just too much. Buffalo didn't have enough offense, and then the Ravens just. It was kind of mind-numbing how quickly it all happened.
Right.
Because all of a sudden, it's 4th down, which the Ravens should have gone for at the very end. They're up 2 points. It's 4th and 3. Hindsight's 2020, but with how Buffalo was doing, you can't give the ball back to them with a minute left.
Right.
But they didn't, and all of a sudden Buffalo drives down just like they had been for the last 3 minutes, and they kick a field goal as time expires, and everyone's just kind of left there. At least all the Buffalo fans who didn't leave the game are left there how did we just win this?
Yeah, utterly shell-shocked.
Both those quarterbacks are incredible. Derrick Henry was incredible until he fumbled the game away. And both these teams are a problem in the AFC.
Yeah, just monster numbers being put up on both sides of the ball. Josh Allen, 33 of 46 for 394 yards, a couple tutties. Derrick Henry, like you said, 18 carries, 169 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Of course, he did have that fumble, which was a big part of why the Bills came back, but not the only part.
No.
And Zay Flowers contributed 7 receptions for 143 yards and 1 touchdown. I'd like to direct the attention to the leading receiver on the Bills this game, Keon Coleman, with 8 receptions, 112 yards, and a touchdown. He provided a much-needed boost, I think we can say, to the fewer than 20% who had him starting in fantasy this week.
I suffered.
Yeah. It's pretty remarkable. There was a lot of flack given to Keon Coleman last year. Not completely fairly, because let's be honest, the Bills are an offense where I'm talking purely in terms of fantasy, really. The Bills are an offense where Josh Allen, he hogs all the points. Their leading receiver last year, Khalil Shakir, only had 4 receiving touchdowns the whole season. Keon Coleman, as you can imagine, as a rookie out of Florida State, had even fewer. So to come out like this and make the statement in this way, super encouraging for the young receiver, super encouraging for this Bills offense. Of course, we tend to emphasize offense a little over much.
Yeah.
I'm going to direct it to the losing team in this case. But how concerned are you about the Ravens' defensive collapse?
Oh, I don't know what my main question, honestly, after the game was, after how the heck did the Ravens just lose that, was how bad are both these defenses, or how good are both these offenses? Because if these defenses are good defenses, then it's over. AFC Championship, Ravens versus Bills, whoever wins that wins the Super Bowl.
I think that's fair.
But if it's a question of bad defenses, well, then they're going to have to figure out a way to sustain that offensive output.
Right. I think the only way that one of those teams doesn't make the Super Bowl is if the Chiefs get into the playoffs and are a 7 seed, and they're just playing the Bills just randomly in the AFC Championship for no reason other than that the Chiefs just do that. And they just win the game because that's what they do. And but you have to note that with the Chiefs looking as vulnerable as they do, these two teams are clearly the class of the AFC.
Yeah.
All right.
And based off week 1, the Chargers would be a distant third.
Yes, I think so. I think the Chargers, in terms of the AFC playoff picture, had the most impressive win in Week 1.
Yeah.
Though it was in Brazil.
It's mental.
Yeah. Moving forward to Monday night, where we witnessed one of the strangest games I've ever seen. Not in terms of the final score, it was a perfectly reasonable final score, but in terms of how the game played out. Through the first 3 quarters, J.J. McCarthy looked like one of the biggest mistakes in Vikings history, possibly their worst quarterback since Christian Ponder.
Ooh.
He looked bad, and every time there was any kind of penalty or they went backwards in any kind of way, the drive was over, snuffed out. And then he came alive. What were your thoughts watching that fourth quarter comeback?
Yeah, well, I mean, I texted you at probably halfway through the third quarter, like, I am utterly unimpressed by both of these teams, and this is the Packers division to lose.
Yeah.
And then the fourth quarter happened, and aside from me having a bet on the Vikings money line, which I was a little salty about, I was just like, I just love watching the Bears lose, and I love watching their fans melt down. I love their fans thinking that they're going to be the best team ever every single offseason. And so I just kind of sat back and enjoyed it. And then after the game, I was like, if the Vikings are this good, then they're going to be a problem.
That did cross my mind. Now, you have to take the game in its totality, though. And JJ looks so bad through this first 3 quarters that I look at it and I'm like, yeah, a little bit scary from that fourth quarter. Of course, I'm still riding high as a Packers fan. So it's like, I don't know how much that counts, but it did cross my mind. At the same time, you can't talk about this game without talking about how the Bears just completely fumbled the ball away. I think when these two teams play each other, it's like just a great hate watch because I can't stand either, obviously. I think you have to cheer for the team that's on the road, just so that you can see the misery of the home fans. That's my opinion.
That's not bad. I think I hate the Bears the most.
Yeah.
So
the only reason, I have found myself cheering for the Bears in these matchups, though.
Sure.
Just because of playoff implications.
Right. Yeah. And in Week 1, Packers won. It's kind of like my wife asked me who I wanted to lose, and I said I want them to tie.
Yeah. 0-0 tie would be great.
Yeah. And honestly, the way the first 3 quarters went, it was about as close to that as you can get. Just terrible.
I think you're pretty happy. You saw awful J.J. McCarthy. You saw awful Caleb Williams, who just continues this awful streak from last year. The talent is obvious. He showed flashes early in the game, but going into that second half, he just looked like he completely lost it. Ben Johnson just looked confused on the sideline. He's like, what's going on here? And I'm like, I think there's just some bad Juju Magumba going down there in Soldier Field.
Ben Johnson, welcome to the land of misery. You had it nice in Detroit, and Chicago is where quarterbacks and coaches go to get fired.
Yeah. I think without a doubt, that game, though, was one of the strangest of Week 1.
It was one of the strangest football games I'd ever watched.
I don't know what it means going forward.
I don't think we can.
Because, we saw both really good and really bad from both offenses. And so we'll just have to wait and see.
Right.
All right. Let's turn the page and look ahead to Week 2.
Okay.
We have a big time. Great, which is rare over the last couple of years. Thursday night football matchup between the Washington Commanders, who put away the New York Giants with ease, as they should have, and the Green Bay Packers, who had that resounding victory on over the Lions. Both of those teams accounted for 2 of the 2 score victories that we saw in week 1. And now they play each other at Lambeau. Crowd's going to be still fired up. Both teams have a degree of momentum. I think Green Bay has more momentum, but Washington is a problem with Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
What are your predictions for this game? The line is, at the moment, -3 in favor of the Packers.
I took the Packers to cover that line. I think my biggest question is just going to be how well. I saw the defensive line against a fairly immobile quarterback. How well can they do against a mobile quarterback? Because Jaden Daniels is a sneaky character.
For sure. I think for me, the Washington defense is consistently solid under Dan Quinn, but they don't really have any excellent pass rushers. So I'm hoping that with his plethora of options at wide receiver, Love can just get back in the pocket and find the guy, and his offensive line, which was stellar on Sunday, can just provide him with protection. Now, there are some injury concerns. I think Zach Tom was listed as questionable, along with some other I think guard
Aaron Banks.
Yeah. So it's not great. I still think this team is so juiced up. Lambeau's going to be fired up under the lights on Thursday night. I think the Packers win as well. Unless any Packers fans or any other fans of teams who we both agree on the result If that team loses and fans come at us with accusations of casting some curse of unanimity, just chill the freak out because there's only 2 of us here. So just calm down.
Yeah. And Matt LaFleur, I believe, has put up the offense. Matt LaFleur offenses have put up 30 plus points each of the last 5 games against Dan Quinn defenses. So that's really encouraging. Honestly, the most discouraging point, and I don't like to be superstitious, is that I'm going tonight to watch this game with buddies. And when I watch Packers games with buddies, the Packers always lose. So if it's halftime and the Packers are looking pretty iffy, I might get out of there.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, that is superstitious as all get out, but it is creepy how many times I have gone to watch a Packers game that they should win, and this is games that they should win with people, and the Packers have blown it.
Well, they haven't won a Thursday night football game. They didn't win one 2 years ago against Las Vegas. Now, that was early on with Love.
Do we count Thanksgiving?
We do not.
Okay.
Because they've been great on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Last year, they were in Detroit. They played really well. Lost 34-31 on a last-second field goal.
Yep,
the Lions.
That's right.
It's not like they've been out of these games by any means. But, yes, like you said, when you are with friends, the pressure mounts for your team to deliver. I will say, Sunday did a pretty good job at dispelling some of those demons because I was here watching the game with some people, like my roommates.
It's a new year.
Yeah. It just feels fresh. It feels vibrant.
I didn't say those words are too strong in me. They're just, it's a little,
it
in the back of my soul.
It lurks. Time to get dispelled tonight. I think Green Bay wins. I'm not sure they cover. I think this is going to be a close game. Back and forth. Whether it's high scoring or low scoring, I really have no idea. Both of these defenses are solid. Both of these offenses are solid. I don't see a blowout one way or another, though. Moving forward then to another game. This one in not interconference, but a cross-conference matchup between the Seahawks visiting the Steelers. What do you see in this game? Pittsburgh's a 3-point favorite.
I don't even know if I can venture an opinion. I didn't watch either of these teams play other than like the first 30 minutes. The Steelers or the Seahawks have like no one besides Jackson Smith and Jigba. And I guess Sam Darnold just like targeted him over 50% of the time.
Darnold looked bad.
Yeah, okay. I'll take your word for it because that's believable. And then the Steelers, like Aaron Rodgers acting like he's 26 again, just out there slinging touchdowns. Like I hate to say it, but I think the Steelers are going to cover.
Yeah, I think.
And if not cover, then right on that line.
And at Heinz Field, I'm not.
It's in Pittsburgh.
It's in Pittsburgh. Yeah. I'm not going to call it Acrisure Stadium. Heinz Field.
Yeah.
When you're there, it doesn't matter who they play. I'm not saying they're like going to go undefeated there or anything, but they seem to find a way to just win games there. Yeah. They're awful on the road. They're great at home. And against a team like Seattle, I don't think the Steelers will have any issue winning this game. Going over to New York, Buffalo is in town, played the Jets. How do you see this game unfolding? As you would expect, goodness. Buffalo is a 6.5-point favorite.
Buffalo might score 50.
Yeah.
I mean, if the Steelers put up 34 on the Jets, like Buffalo might score 50 points. And the Jets might score 30.
Yeah. So you think Buffalo covers? It's 6.5 points.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they can beat them by a touchdown. And I take the over.
For sure.
I don't
know 46.5.
Oh.
Yeah, smash
hammer
that.
it. Yeah. And watch it be like a 20-17 game. But I mean, like, after what I saw in week 1, yeah.
In one of our more pathetic matchups in week 2, we get New England visiting Miami.
Oh, dear.
Miami is a 1-point home favorite. The over-under is 43.5. And after what we saw in week 1, I am just so unbelievable. Like, both of these teams had awful losses. New England lost at home to the Raiders, who might be kind of sneaky okay, but still. And there was a ton of hype surrounding, the Patriots under Mike Vrabel. They came out. The defense looked okay. The offense was crap. And I kind of expected it to, honestly, because when your best receiver is a washed-up Stephon Diggs and your number 2 option is Demario Douglas, your offense is not in for a good time. And Miami put up the worst performance. I think that was the last team that had the more than one score
That's right.
deficit. They put up the worst performance, I think, of any team in week 1.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. The Dolphins are awful.
Okay.
They gave up points on every drive Daniel Jones led. The Dolphins are terrible, and I hate to say this, but I think the Patriots are going to beat them.
The final was 33-8.
Yeah. I think the Patriots are going to beat them.
Yeah, that's fair.
Tua might get another concussion.
Another game we have, the Mac Jones-led San Francisco 49ers traveled to New Orleans to take on Spencer Rattler and the Saints in an absolute barn burner of a match. San Francisco's the 3-point road favorite. Who do you have in this game?
I don't know why it says San Francisco. It should just be Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
And they still might win.
For sure.
I don't know. I talk about a game I have no interest in watching.
Until the
That sounds like something we would normally get on a Thursday night.
Yeah, for sure. Until the Saints win a game with Spencer Rattler QB, he's 0-7 as a starter there.
Yeah.
With 3 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, which is just ridiculously poor output for a guy. And this, if you're a Saints fan, this is really scary because you're starting this guy ahead of the rookie you drafted, Tyler Shuff. And if you drafted a rookie, then you can't really make a decision on him just off of part of one season, assuming he gets to start here later in the season, which means you might not select Arch Manning or whoever the best quarterback is next year in the draft. It's just the future is bleak in New Orleans. Now, they might pull the trigger and just draft whoever's best. That's what they should do.
They should pretend like they never drafted Tyler Shuck.
Yeah, total waste of a draft pick.
Yeah.
So you have San Fran?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like San Fran can kind of just throw at whoever and beat the Saints.
Yeah, in Kyle Shanahan's offense, I think anything's possible. I have San Fran as well.
Just have to. Mac Jones was throwing the ball well last year to Brian Thomas Jr. and now throw the ball well to Christian McCaffrey and hand the ball off well to Christian McCaffrey.
Who do you have winning the Patriots-Dolphins game?
Patriots.
Okay, I also have the Patriots. So far we've agreed on all the games, and this will likely continue into the next game because the Los Angeles Rams are traveling to Nashville to take on the Titans under the... I will say Cam Ward was bad in week 1, but I would attribute a lot of his awfulness to the fact that Calvin really can't catch the damn football. And while that wasn't everything, he did get targeted a lot. Not much to show for it. Cam Ward was bad, but like maybe not as bad as people will say. But the Rams are coming to town. They're 5.5-point favorites. Who do you got?
So I was just making fun of someone who picked the Titans, but Calvin Ridley was being guarded by Pat Surtain for Denver. That still gives me hope for him. I didn't watch either of these teams play, so take my opinion with a big grain of salt.
I would smash the under on 41.5 points. The Titans defense actually looked really impressive versus Denver. Hey, what's up, Joe? And frankly, the Titans, I mean, the offense was bad. The defense was solid. The Rams only gave up 9 points to Houston.
Yeah, but they only scored 14.
I know they did, but my point is that it's going to be a low-scoring game.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, so you have the Rams?
No, Titans. I don't know how.
He's taking Titans at home. I don't hate it, actually. It's not...
If there's going to be an underdog, that wins, it's the Titans.
It's not the worst.
It's a bad take, but...
Talking about a team that absolutely needs to have this week, because the schedule going forward for them is brutal. We have Detroit going back home to the friendly confines at Ford Field to take on Chicago. Chicago coming off that brutal collapse on Monday night. Detroit's 6.5 or just 6-point favorites. Who do you have?
Detroit wins it.
I think Detroit,
talent alone.
I think Detroit mauls Chicago. I think they're going to be pissed. They're going to come out firing on all cylinders.
By like 30?
And they're going to take care of business. I don't know about 30, but if the spread was 21.5, I would take them to cover. It's going to be ugly, folks. And Caleb Williams is going to look utterly shell-shocked. Though some will point to the Ben Johnson angle, him returning to Detroit, but he's just got nothing to work with. I'm a big Caleb Williams hater, as you all know. So,
but don't the Lions know him better than he knows them? I don't know.
Possibly.
I mean, it kind of goes both ways.
It's not like Aaron Glenn's there to salvage their defensive effort.
I don't know.
I think Detroit hammers this game because if they drop this game and move to 0-2, the schedule moving forward is unbelievably terrible. They could be 2-6 through it all, and I don't see a 2-6 team making the playoffs this year. Certainly not in their division. There's a lot of talent there in their conference. They have to play the Eagles. They have to play the AFC North. It's just going to be brutal for Detroit fans this year. All right. Our next game, actually kind of a sneaky good game, is the Jaguars going to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. Who do you have?
Oh, wow.
The Bengals are currently 3.5-point home favorites.
I have to ride with the Bengals. I wouldn't be surprised if they blow it, though. What did you say the spread was?
3.5 points.
For the Bengals?
Yeah.
I say they win, but don't cover.
Yeah. I actually am going to take the Jags in this one.
All right.
I think the Jags, they looked really good, albeit against an awful Panthers team, but they looked solid. Liam Cohen might be utterly, what's the word?
Duvalled out?
I mean, he's a goofball. I mean, he's a doofus, but at least he's effective. He was very effective in Tampa Bay, and now he seems to have at least carried it through one game in Jacksonville. He's got a quarterback who's talented, hasn't proven a lot, similar to Justin Herbert and Trevor Lawrence, but here's a guy that can show up and and I think get a win over a Bengals team that has struggled early on in the season in recent history.
Yeah.
All right. Moving over. Oh, this is going to be a lovely matchup. The New York Giants visit the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas is a 5.5-point home favorite.
So I actually thought the Cowboys looked kind of good against the Eagles. I still have like a lot of respect for the Eagles, and the Cowboys almost took that game from them. Like if CeeDee Lamb doesn't drop those passes, we're potentially talking about a major upset.
I had the Eagles in my survival pool week 1, and I was sweating it out. And I'm impressed also. I think George Pickens made an immediate impact on that offense. Dak Prescott is still healthy, so until he goes down, I think I have to take Dallas. The Giants just don't have an O-line.
Well, and until the Giants start Jackson Dart.
Yeah, but I think they could start. They could start freaking Josh Allen, and their O-line would let him down. It's so bad. I could block better than some of these fools. Carolina visits Arizona. I feel like this game just happened because the Saints played Arizona.
Do we have to talk about this?
Arizona 6.5-point favorite. Who you got?
Arizona wins but doesn't cover.
Yeah, the Panthers suck. And the Cardinals aren't great, but they don't suck as bad as the Panthers do.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. In a good game, I think, Denver visits Indianapolis. Can Danny Dimes show out? Or Indiana Jones, if you will.
Against the Denver defense.
That is the question.
What's the spread?
The Denver is a 1.5-point road favorite.
Oh, so they think it's as close as I do. I'm actually inclined to say Danny Jones was just playing against a terrible defense. So I think Denver takes care of this one. They need a win. I think they cover.
I thought Denver was overrated going into the season, and Bo Nix looked really awful in week 1.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe the Titans defense is just that good. And maybe the Dolphins defense is just that bad. So I think the Colts get this win.
Okay.
I think the Colts are going to be home. It's going to be a raucous environment at Lucas Oil Stadium, one of my favorite stadiums in the NFL. I think they're going to show up, and Colts Nation is going to be really happy on Sunday night. That game's in the 4:05.
That's Sunday night?
No, it's Sunday afternoon.
Thank God.
Yeah, no kidding. In America's Game of the Week, Philadelphia travels to Kansas City in a Super Bowl rematch.
All right.
Philadelphia is a 1-point road dog. What are your thoughts here? Or sorry, road favorite. What am I saying?
Oh, I think the Eagles are gonna roll. I think the Chiefs are gonna start the season at 0-2.
Yeah, and if they do, it looks a little scary.
The Eagles might not roll. It'll probably be a one-possession game because that's like right in Chiefs' wheelhouse.
I agree with that. Because there's no way Philadelphia goes in there and wins by multiple scores in Arrowhead.
Yeah,
like that's a different environment. You don't go in there and roll.
But maybe Kansas City will pull it off, but they were not impressive enough to me. And I think until they get more talent around Mahomes again, that they're going to be in for some rough times.
If any team pulls it off in this situation, it is the Chiefs.
True.
But I don't think they win. I think Jalen Hurts shows up. I think it's a close game down the stretch. Philadelphia wins by 4.
He might even throw it to AJ Brown.
We'll get to AJ Brown. Trust me. And the Chiefs start 0-2. And let me tell you, the AFC West is not going to be a cakewalk because the Broncos, their defense is fantastic. The Raiders are not an easy out, and the Chargers just beat them. So if they start 0-2, this game, I hesitate to say it, but it's kind of a must-win for Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that brings us to Sunday night.
All right.
Minnesota is a 3.5 home favorite. I think decent spread against the visiting Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, so I didn't really watch any of the Falcons Buccaneers game. What did it look like?
Yeah, Penix looked good. The defense let him down again. It came back. I think Penix led a touchdown drive with about 2 minutes left.
Okay.
And then Baker went right back down
and
passed the game-winning touchdown to Egbuka.
Yeah, I'll go with the Vikings by 3.
I think that's fair.
I think it should be fairly entertaining, actually.
I think Penix is a reliable quarterback. I actually think he's a viable option. I think he's better than Caleb Williams, who was drafted well ahead of him. I know that pick was super controversial when the Falcons took him, but if they had just rolled with Kirk Cousins, they would not be in a better position than they are right now. So with Bijan Robinson, I think they keep this game close. I think ultimately at home, Minnesota has a little too much talent on that roster to lose this game. I'm taking the Vikings as well. Which brings us to our Monday night doubleheader. We got a couple
doubleheader,
frankly good matchups on Monday night.
Sweet.
Tampa Bay visits Houston.
Okay. Tampa Bay wins.
Houston is a 2.5-point favorite.
I don't care. Their offensive
Houston's
line,
offense is rough.
Their offensive line is like they went out and pulled a random hobo off the street. Like
Yeah.
I think they have 2 offensive linemen who are already bad and then are injured. So like who's their backup? And like the Houston has so much talent with Stroud, Nico Collins, and maybe that's it. But like you should be able to do better than that. But I think Tampa Bay. Give me Baker.
It's funny, after that electric 2023 season, all the hype was around CJ Stroud, and understandably so. But frankly, since last year he was mid.
Oh,
He looked awful on
I think
Sunday.
QB 28 last year.
Yeah, he has a pedigree, but I think Sunday or Monday night is close to must-win territory for the Texans. I'm not saying their schedule's that brutal. They're fortunate to play in the AFC South, sort of. I think Jacksonville's a decent team, though. Tampa Bay is good. I don't think they're as good as people are giving them credit for. They were very close with the Falcons. I'm not sure the Falcons are as good as people are giving them credit for because they were in the game with the Buccaneers. But Houston needs to win this game, and their offense needs to look good because they have one of the best defensive outfits in the entire league. If the offense could just pull it together, they would be one of the best teams in the AFC.
Right? Yeah.
Our final game on Monday night, 10 p.m. on ESPN, we have the Chargers, who, coming off their impressive victory over the Chiefs in Brazil, visit Las Vegas to take on the Raiders, coming off a victory in New England. The Chargers are 3.5-point road favorites. Who you got?
Yeah, so I think that I know I just talked about how good the Chargers were. I think they have the extra day to like kind of recalibrate. It's almost like that spot where you kind of see a letdown coming after like an emotional win in a foreign country over a big rival. And the Raiders looked really impressive against a Vrabel defense. Like I think Gino threw for almost 400 yards.
Yeah, he was incredible.
But I just can't do it. I think the Chargers win by 3.
Okay. I think that's reasonable. I think that Raiders Nation is going to be fired up for this game. I think the Las Vegas Raiders start out 2-0.
Wow.
And the Chargers are going to take a step back after an emotion-filled victory at last Friday night. I still think the Chargers are going to be good. I don't think the Raiders will be able to sustain their success. But I think for whatever reason, I just get this weird feeling that they are going to win this football game.
All right. Something's got to go with your gut.
That wraps up our Week 2 preview. I would like to conclude this episode by asking you to maybe air some grievances, if you have them, about how many fantasy leagues are you in?
2 normal ones, a dynasty, and a guillotine.
Okay.
So 4 total.
So across those leagues, do you have any rostered starters that you would like to express your frustration with due to their ineffectual Week 1 showings?
No, my guillotine league won. I won 1 matchup by 0.2 points. So thank you, DeAndre Swift, for choking away. Like he needed 3 more rushing yards to beat me. I got so hammered in the other matchup that I can just blame my entire team besides like Jaden Daniels collectively. Like Malik Neighbors, I'm sorry you have to deal with Russ, but get open more often. Brian Thomas Jr., I was so mad at that I gave him to you. Amika Ibuka, welcome off the bench. I expect great things from you. And then my Dynasty League is just kind of a bleep show because Rashee Rice was suspended and Juwan Jennings and George Kittle got knocked out. Yeah, George Kittle, how dare you?
So I drafted, so I'm only in 2 fantasy leagues. I drafted Devontae Smith with the belief that as a wide receiver 2 on a good offense, albeit a run-dependent offense, he'd at least be able to sustain me through the early weeks until some of my bench players came back or started developing. Week 1 was a disaster. It was actually a worse disaster for A.J. Brown fantasy managers who had 1 catch for 8 yards, putting up a measly 1.8 points. This Devontae Smith, though, this is not the guy. If you're going to have players overlapping between your teams, and I have Patrick Mahomes overlapping, and he had a great fantasy Week 1. But if you're going to have people overlapping, you want them to put up big-time numbers, and Devontae Smith had 4.6 points. So what the hell's up with that?
Did you lose both matchups?
I won both matchups because my opponent had an even worse matchup. So I'm actually not that ticked off, but I'm still a little like what the hell is that? Like 4.6 points is paltry, unacceptable, and we need to do better. Matthew Golden, I was starting as a flex in one of my leagues because my roster's a little short and he only had 3.6 points, but I was sort of aware of that possibility. He's a rookie. It's week one. The Packers offense is not an offense that benefits uh, players at the wide receiver position. So I'm willing to pull back any vitriol directed at the young rookie. Instead, directed it all at Devontae Smith, who absolutely sold, and I've got a lot of disdain for. At this point in time, hopefully he can bounce back for me in week 2. All right. Well, thank you for joining me for this episode. Looking forward to a great week 2, opening up with a banger of a matchup between Washington and Green Bay tonight.
Yep.
Thank you all for joining me, and I will talk to you all next time.